Once upon a time, on a rocky island far out at sea, there stood a little lighthouse named Lenny. Lenny was not the tallest or the brightest lighthouse, but he was the most determined. His job was to guide ships safely through the dark nights and stormy seas. Every night, Lenny would light up his lamp and spin it around, casting a warm, comforting glow over the waves. Lenny was proud of his work, but sometimes he felt a little lonely. The only company he had was the seagulls that circled above during the day and the fish that splashed near the shore. Lenny dreamed of having a friend who could talk to him and keep him company during the long, quiet nights. One day, the sky grew dark and the wind began to howl. A big storm was coming. The waves crashed against the rocks with such force that even the strongest ships would struggle to stay afloat. Lenny knew that this was the moment when the ships would need him most. As the storm grew fiercer, Lenny shone his light as brightly as he could. But the wind was so strong that it shook his little tower, and the rain poured down so hard that it nearly put out his lamp. "Hold on, Lenny," he told himself. "You can do this." Just then, Lenny saw a tiny boat struggling in the waves. The boat was being tossed around like a leaf in the wind, and its captain was trying desperately to steer it towards the island. Lenny knew he had to help. He gathered all his strength and shone his light as bright as he could. The light cut through the darkness and rain, guiding the little boat safely toward the shore. The captain, who was cold and wet, looked up and saw Lenny's shining light. With a deep breath of relief, he steered the boat towards the light and away from the dangerous rocks. Finally, the storm began to calm and the waves grew quieter. The little boat was safely anchored near the island, and the captain climbed out, soaked but safe. He looked up at Lenny and smiled. "Thank you, Lenny," he said. "You saved my life." Lenny felt a warm glow inside, brighter than any lamp he had ever shone. He wasn't lonely anymore because he knew that whenever a ship or a sailor needed him, he would be there to help. The sea was his friend, and so were all the brave captains and sailors who sailed upon it. From that day on, Lenny never felt lonely again. He knew that his light, no matter how small, could make a big difference in the world. And every time the wind howled or the waves roared, Lenny would stand tall and shine his light, guiding ships safely home. And so Lenny, the little lighthouse, became the bravest and most beloved lighthouse in all the seas, proving that even the smallest light can shine the brightest when it's needed the most. The end.